Hi everyone. Now we are going to answer the activity number 7. Personnel policies and technology facilities for system protection. Question number 1. Why is it important to implement separation of duties between accounting, information processing, and information technology in a certain business entity? How can the business fail when management fails to do so? So the separation of duties ensure that no one person gets burnt out, thus causing attrition. It also helps the business management team to know where there are strength, opportunities, or gaps that may require additional training or staffing. In accounting information system, segregation of duties serves two key purposes. These purposes include an assurance that you can quickly review and catch errors if there is an oversight, and it also prevents theft and fraud. So, this should be implemented as much as possible to improve the performance of the employees in the organization. If the management fails to do so, the business or the businesses is more likely decrease or lose its productivity and efficiency, and hidden fraudulent behavior might occur. Question number 2. For the IT department of a business entity, why is it even important to implement separation of duties? Give some suggested divisions for an IT department and what will each perform. So it is important to implement separation of duties for the IT department of a business entity because the design and implementation of effective separation of duties control procedure make it difficult for any one employee to commit a successful fraudulent activity. And some suggested divisions for an IT department, the first one is the system analysis function. So, it's analyze information, process needs, design and modify application program. The person performing this function should not perform other related functions. Second is data control function. It is a data control group, maintain register of computer access codes, help acquire new accounting software or upgrades, coordinate security controls with specific computer personnel, reconcile input and output, and distribute output to authorized users. These should be independent of computer operations. Third is programming functions. It requires formal authorizations for program changes. Submit written description of changes to a supervising manager for approval. Test changes to programs prior to implementation. Fourth is the computer operation function. Rotate computer operators among jobs to avoid any single operator always overseeing the same application. Do not give computer operators access to program documentation or logic. Without these control procedures, a computer operator could alter program. Fifth is transaction authorization function. For each batch of input data, user subsystem submit signed from a form to verify input data are authorized and proper batch control totals are compiled. Data processing group personnel verify signatures and batch control totals before processing data. These procedures help prevent errors. The last one is the AIS library function. So maintain custody of files, databases, and computer programs in separate storage area called the AIS library. Limit access to files, databases, and programs for usage purposes to authorize operators at scheduled times of or with user authorization. It's maintain records of all usage. The librarian does not have computer access privileges. Question number 3. What is the significance of business continuity plan and disaster recovery plan in the battle of a business entity against system attacks? So a business continuity plan allows a business to make advanced plans to address what needs to be done to ensure that it can continue to deliver key products and services. It identifies critical functions and the minimum service levels that need to be met. A business has a wide range scope, looking at the enterprise as a whole. It includes a business impact analysis, which analyzes critical system, business function and services, and the elements that support them determine how a business interruption might impact them. A disaster recovery plan allows a business to plan what needs to be done immediately after a disaster to recover from an event. It includes detailed procedures for addressing problems and getting systems like data backed up back online. Question number 4. Give some example of security control procedures commonly practiced. So some example of security control procedures that are commonly practiced are external file labels. Its purpose is to identify contents of a computer file and help prevent an individual from accidentally writing over a disk file. Next is internal file label. So its purpose is to record name of a file, data file created, and other identifying data on the file medium that will be read and verified by the computer. Next is lockout procedures. It's used to prevent two applications from updating the same record or data item at the same time. So read-only file designation. It is used to earmark data on floppy disk so that data is available for reading only. Data cannot be altered by users, nor can new data be stored on the file. Question number 5. What are fault-tolerant systems? How are these systems built and work? So organizations use fault-tolerant systems to deal with computer errors and keep functioning so that is accurate and complete. These systems are often based on the concept of redundancy. Computer system can be made fault-tolerant with duplicate communication path or processor. The major processes are as follows. The first one is system with consensus-based protocols contain an odd number of processors. If one processor disagrees with the others, it is thereafter ignored. Second, some systems are second watchdog processor. If something happens to the first processor, the watchdog processor then takes over the processing work. Question number 6. How can backup files help fight system attacks? What are the different techniques to produce backup files? So the best defense against attacks is being able to restore data from clean backups. Even when organization pays a ransom, there is no guarantee that the attacker will hand over the decryption key. Restoring from backups is more reliable, cheaper, and does not involve handing money to criminals. The different techniques to produce backup files are the grandfather-parent-child procedure, where the large organizations might store more than 3 such copies. Next is a hot backup, where backup performed while the database is offline and available for read and write. Next is a cold backup, where it is performed while the database is offline and unavailable to users. The next is electronic vaulting and uninterruptible power system. Question number 7. Give some computer facility security control schemes. Describe how each can contribute to the security. So some computer facility security control schemes are, the first one is locate data processing centers in safe places. Usually, organizations locate data processing centers where the public does not have access. Locations away from public security and guarded by personnel are obviously preferred. The location of a data processing center should also take in consideration natural disaster. Although it is impossible to protect data processing centers completely from such hazards, advanced planning can minimize exposure to them. Next is limit employee access. So few people have reason to be inside a data processing center. With advanced identification techniques, it is possible to have each employee's entry into and exit from the data processing center automatically recorded in the computer log, which should be periodically reviewed by supervisory personnel. Next is buy insurance. Although insurance is usually thought to be an important method of protection for a computer system, it is actually the protection of last resort. Insurance policies for computer damages are usually limited in coverage, which means that not all instances of loss may be recoverable by the policy holder.
Get it.